My brother, my sister, shocking. The real Kwabena Adu-Boahene, not Professor Albert Adu-Boahene's son. Now, who is Professor Albert Adu-Boahene? This gentleman here, my brother, my sister, there was a time he ran for the presidency of this country on the ticket of the NPP. Many were those who gave him a chance. In fact, his name was a name that brought a lot of hope to the people at the time. My brother, my sister, it was the days of Jerry John Rawlings. This man here stood on the ticket of the NPP, ran for the presidency and lost. In fact, he's been one of the founding members of the NPP, the New Patriotic Party. Historian. In fact, he wrote a number of books, one of which are used in school, albeit briefly, because the book was pushed aside for better books to be used, because it was said at the time that his writing was biased. I can't bias. My brother, my sister, Professor Albert Adu-Boahene, and that book, his topics in West African history. If you haven't seen it yet, pick it up and read it, and you will justify some of these allegations. My brother, my sister, Professor Albert Adu-Boahene. After he lost the elections, he went back to the West and straight into the classroom to lecture at a time that Ghanaians were crying about the shortage of lecturers in our universities. Every now and then, lecturer strikes hitting the country. And I remember Jerry John Rawlings in those days even saying that one of these days, if you see me in your classroom or lecture hall, do not be surprised. And a lot of the teachers and professors were angry. What are you going to teach Ghanaian children? Why do you make it look so easy? In fact, that anybody can just be a teacher or walk into the classroom and teach. In the days of Jerry John Rawlings, when we had the culture of silence, it took people like Professor Albert Adu-Boahene to fight that culture of silence when everybody was silent. From 1979, when the so-called Rawlings Revolution came into being, many Ghanaians feared to speak truth to power. Today, if we are enjoying freedom of speech, it just tells you that we've come a long way. It took people like Albert Adu-Boahene, the professor, and some other people to fight against the culture of silence in the days of Jerry John Rawlings. In fact, in the days of Rawlings, the so-called revolution, people spoke in whispers. Soldiers were all over victimizing people for saying things that they claimed were anti the revolution or anti-revolution. This is Professor Albert Adu-Boahene, historian, academic, and at the same time a politician. He taught at the University of Ghana, where he also schooled, and then also in the West. In fact, now Professor Albert Adu-Boahene is noted for so many different things in both academia and of course politics. One of his children has become a politician, and his name is Charles Adu-Boahene. This is Charles Adu-Boahene. He was disgraced and kicked out of office when Anas Admiral Anas came out with a certain documentary that fingered him, taking a bribe of 200,000 Ghana cedis. My brother, my sister, he was kicked out of office by the Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo regime. He boasted in the video how his father brought up Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo in the world of politics, and how much the president owed him a lot because of his father. Things like this he said in the video, almost to say, I walk in the corridors of power because of my father, Albert Adu-Boahene. It embarrassed the president and the NPP government, and therefore he was kicked out. From that time till now, he has been in total oblivion politically. This is Charles Adu-Boahene, a son of Professor Albert Adu-Boahene. Now there's another son. He's called Kwabena Adu-Boahene, but not the Kwabena Adu-Boahene that has become so popular in Ghana today when it comes to, the controversial stealing of cars, selling of cars, Iyoko, the cat and mouse game, and so on and so forth, including the yellow Lamborghini that Shatawale picked up. This is not a son of Professor Albert Adu-Boahene. Yes, his name is Kwabena Adu-Boahene, but not the son or a son of Professor Albert Adu-Boahene. This is the real son of Professor Albert Adu-Boahene, the man in the shirt that looks so African, the man in the afro hair, heavily bearded. His name is Kwabena Adu-Boahene. My brother, my sister, he's an expert in bioengineering. He is a scientist and an engineer. My brother, my sister, he's a professor of a number of universities in America and even England. He's a very proud Ghanaian, but he's based outside Ghana, a son of Professor Albert Adu-Boahene. This man here was born, according to Wikipedia, in 1964. That means this man here is about 61 years young. But he is also called Kwabena Adu-Boahene. The only difference in the name is that this one spells his Boahen B-O-A-H-E-N, whilst the other one, the former boss of the NSB, the National Signals Bureau, he spells his B-O-A-H-E-N-E, Boahene. Right now that we have been able to establish that this guy here has no relation with Professor Albert Adu-Boahene, let us look at who exactly Kwabena Adu-Boahene is. Now, Kwabena Adu-Boahene was born in Kokomlemle here in Accra in January 1981. My brother, my sister, he's a young man. Oh yes. Born in January 1981 in Kokomlemle to a father, my brother, my sister, a very expectant father by name J. Efriye, J. Owusu Efriye. My brother, my sister, and a mother simply called Auntie Maggie. It was a joyous day. That was the first child of Auntie Maggie. And as fate would have it, the only child she ever had. Kwabena Adu-Boahene. Now, he was named Boahene because of his paternal grandmother. My brother, my sister, Adu-Boahene. The father decided to name him after his mother, this man's grandmother. They expected that he would grow up to bring honor to the family. He was smart in school. In fact, he went to school in Accra and also in Koforidua, Efiduase. He went to Pope John School. My brother, my sister, Pope John Seminary, we all know, and you can see their logo here. Oh, Pope John Senior High School, Minor Seminary. St. John Senior High School and Minor Seminary. It means, in fact, they also train priests for the Catholic Church and beyond. It used to only be for the training of priests. And you can see their logo, so beautiful. The school crest. It has a boat on the river, bouncing left, right, and center. And their motto is Velademos. You know what that means? We set sail. My brother, my sister. And you can see the Christ cross, and you see a book that is supposed to be the Bible. You see the phantom from, and much more. It is a beautiful one. This school was established in 1958 by a bishop, a very powerful bishop. My brother, my sister, in 1958. He was called Bishop Boahen'S, very powerful bishop. My brother, my sister, he was the one who founded this. Bishop Oliver Boahen'S. My brother, my sister, 1958, Pope John School established. It was initially a seminary to train priests. And when Adu-Boahene went to this school, he completed with flying colors. And then he went to school at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in 2004. My alma mater. I went to the same school, my brother, my sister. Oh my God. Such a beautiful school. Yes. That was where Adu-Boahene schooled. And when he entered that school, his mind was on only one thing. He just wanted to study electrical and electronic engineering. That was all he was interested in. 2004, and he made it happen. From that place, he went all the way to Liverpool. Oh yes, he was in Liverpool. Oh my God. And he studied info systems management right there in Liverpool. Then he studied for a second master's at UPSA. And over there, my brother, my sister, oh my God, he studied something very, very interesting. Security intelligence. That's what he studied. My brother, my sister. Yes, UPSA, University of Professional Studies, Accra. And they say scholarship with professionalism. That's where he studied security intelligence at UPSA. Then he went to Mossad in Israel. That's it. Where he also studied intelligence. Whilst he was in England, my brother, my sister, he worked with an engineering company. In fact, one of the largest in the whole of Europe, if not the largest. It was called Atkins. Atkins. Some people say Atkins. My brother, my sister, this is a very powerful engineering and design outfit. It was founded in 1938 by a man called Sir William Atkins. Hallelujah. Teach Black Rasta. That was where he worked. He was making quite some good money, left, right, and center in England, trying, to let his life be going around. And he was promoted. He started making some good money. And then he decided that it was now time to return to his country, because somebody had told him that he had studied a lot. Cyber intelligence, security special, knowledge and information, IT, and all that. He should come to Ghana and serve his motherland. And that was where his passion was. This guy here called Kwabena Adu-Boahene. So he came to Ghana and he applied for a job. And he was picked up, my brother, my sister, in 2007. National security, that was where he worked. And he rose all the way through the ranks from 2007. At the time, his salary was 1,200 Ghana cedis. 1,200 Ghana cedis. That was the time Kufuor had just changed, redenominated the Ghanaian cedi. So it was $1 to 1 Ghana cedi. My brother, my sister. And his salary was 1,200 Ghana cedis. In other words, 1,200 American dollars. As we say in America, $1,200. It was less than what he was receiving at Atkins. But he was happy to be in Ghana. And he started from the scratch, climbing the ladder and learning so much from 2007. Then on the 29th of December 2020, he rose like a column of mercury on heat in the mercury thermometer, straight into the echelons of the Director General of the NSB. Oh yes, NSB. National Signals Bureau. All along, he was a quiet boy, a church boy, attending the Assemblies of God Church. Assemblies of God Church. And they say all the gospel. Interestingly, he attended the same school as NDC's former security couple who just said bye-bye to us, Honorable Dr. Boahen'S. Incidentally, he attends the same church as the President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama. Hallelujah. My brother, my sister, interesting things are happening. This is Kwabena Adu-Boahene, the controversial figure. But all along, from 2007, nobody really knew about him in Ghana. He grew gradually, coming up. Then something in 2024 happened and just exposed him to the Ghanaian public, both political and non-political. He was traveling to Israel. Remember, he went to Mossad and studied. He was traveling to Israel with his team from the national security. My brother, my sister. And assumably, he was late in boarding his flight. It was an Emirates flight. There was a lady there, one Patience Ban, Sylvia Patience Ban, who decided that he should not board the plane because he was late. He had about 15 minutes. Under normal circumstances, he could have still boarded the plane by the standards of Emirates. But Sylvia stopped him from boarding it because she said everything was set and the gates were about to close. And CCTV camera recordings of the incident shows exactly what time he arrived at the airport. And if anything at all, he could have still been considered to board the plane. But no, it brought a big embarrassment because he was with his team and he tried to argue his way out. And then it was said later that there was even a kidnapping of the said Sylvia Patience Man. And this was what brought this guy's face, very innocent looking face like that, into the limelight of Ghana. And people started to chastise, criticize him, and then they got into him, and then many more things started coming up. My brother, my sister, if you have heard about Globafert, it's a fertilizer making company in Ghana. Look at it. Globafert. Global fertilizer. In fact, in 2024 last year, Globafert had a huge contract to supply fertilizer, granules like what you see here. It was a contract from the Ghana government under Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. The money involved was this. And we hear it was sole sourcing. Today we're not going to look at that. But it came out that this guy here called Kwabena Adu-Boahene is the owner of Globafert. It's the biggest fertilizer making company right here in Ghana. Some people even say it's the biggest in West Africa. And he is the owner of this. But of course, there's a CEO who is a pastor. But, my brother, my sister, after the incident at the airport, all eyes came on this man. And today, there are so many accusations and allegations. Cars, contracts, kidnapping, and so on and so forth. Today, we just decided to go into the archives and unveil the mystery behind this face that has become so popular on our screens. This is Kwabena Adu-Boahene, an only child. His father passed on a few years back. His mother is the one taking care of him. Better still, the spirit of his mother, as it stands right now, is what has surrounded him and taken care of him all this while. My brother, my sister, we have looked at the controversies. Today we are looking at who this gentleman is. The very humble beginnings. Through Efidiase in Koforidua, Pope John. Oh my God. And all the way up the ladder. Liverpool. Oh, so much studies. He is Ghana's IT wizard, according to the national security. The interesting thing about this gentleman, as we get to know in the coming days, is that the incident that happened at the airport exposed him to a lot of scrutiny. Tomorrow, we will look at an aspect that will shock you. In the interim, this is the Black Pot, aka Kuku Shonemu. Come here! Where we speak truth to power.